Hello, my name is Justine, and I'm ethnically Chinese but from the Philippines. So, 我的中文不好, so I can't say a word. But I can understand a 4-year-old. I can talk to them, but no one else. So today we're going to be doing career planning using design thinking. So a show of hands, who here is still a student? Aye. And so everyone else is already working? Aye. So what we're going to do is a workshop I've created. So before that, I hope you can introduce yourself to your table mates. Does everyone understand English? Or does someone need translating?
等一下，等到就是每次讲者讲到一个段落，然后要叫大家做一些行动的时候，会再确认有没有人没有听懂。然后如果说发现就是大家好像没有办法很快开始做讲者想要准备的东西的时候，我再帮大家翻译讲者要的任务到底是什么。然后如果大家有问题觉得难听不懂，可以随时举手，我就翻译。
Hi. So, I hope you can introduce yourself to your table mates because you guys will be talking a lot to each other during this session. So I want you to take like 1-2 minutes to introduce yourselves to each other. And like these are just a few questions you can ask each other. But you can talk about like what's your work, anything you like. Just introduce yourselves to each other first for the next 60 seconds. Aye. Go.
现在这2分钟，大家就跟彼此介绍一下自己，然后上面有一些建议的问题，也可以问就是比这些问题还要更多的问题。
Hi. So you've all introduced yourselves to each other? Great. So, so now you know lots about each other. So for today's session, these are our main objectives. This is what I want you to take out of it. Roughly, it's to think about your career a little more concretely than you normally would. Do you need to translate? Okay. So we'll be using design thinking to restructure your career as it is right now. To think about, is this really what you want to be doing, and what are the next steps for you coming from that? So before that begins, so this is about me. So I'm Justine, I'm 24 years old, and I'm from the Philippines. So there I work for Unilever Philippines. If you know Dove shampoo, we are the ones who make that. So I manage a shampoo brand there, and in my spare time, I run a blog called the Bumpy Career. It's about interning and job hunting for Filipino college students. So I also do consulting for it for students and for companies there who want to hire Gen Z, so people born 1995 and below. And in my spare time, because I had surgery in October recently, I started a shoe brand. So we sell handmade leather shoes for men now in the Philippines too. So I have a lot of free time. Joke. So this is the roadmap for today. This is my ideal goals for all of us. So first, it's to think about what is pressuring you when it comes to your career. Second is taking stock of what you currently have. What are your current skills and motivations and goals? Third is understanding what's your ideal state. So who do you want to be in a few months or years from now? And lastly, comparing your reality against your ideal to see where is the gap. What do we have to do next? What do you have to learn next? So everyone is familiar with the design thinking framework? Okay. So what we are going to do today is just the first 3 steps of it. Empathize, aka what is the problem? Second is define, making sure you know where the problem ends. And the third is ideate. What are possible solutions for this problem? So let's begin with exercise 1. So this is the common career pressures we face. So when I speak with my students who come to me for career coaching, these are the main problems that they have, why they don't know what they want to do next. The first is what I call white noise, background noise, things you always hear. So this comes from your parents, your friends, your teachers, society. It's them telling you what should you be doing. It's them telling you, you should go and study to be a doctor, to be an engineer, to be an architect, because that's the best thing for you, even if that's not what you truly want to do. The second one is self-inflicted, things you tell yourself all the time. So this is you being a perfectionist, you telling yourself that someday I will run after that dream when I am perfect, when I am ready for it. But newsflash, nobody is ever perfect. So we'll never run after that dream. So we need to understand that, the best time to start is today. The third is, they always knew. So it's thinking that successful people are successful because they already know what to do. They already know who to talk to and what are the next steps for them. It's thinking that they never had uncertainty. But that's not true. Everyone goes through uncertainty. And then the last one is the most insidious simply is, the one that seems like a good thing but is actually a really bad thing, is passion. People tell you that what you should be working on is something you're passionate about, because that's what you'll be passionate about for the rest of your life. Like, have you ever heard the term that if you're passionate about your work, it doesn't feel like work? That's not true. It will still be work. It's just something that you're happier in going into. But it's something we always hear from people. So what we're gonna do now is exercise 1, identifying your career pressure points. So first is, who are the people in my life who are giving me background noise and giving me their opinions? And the second is, what do they normally say? And the last bit is, do I want to be listening to that? Is it affecting me currently? What would I be doing without it? So these are my answers to that. So the ones in blue are all of the people who are saying things to me, and the ones in red are the people that I really listen to. Do you have to translate anything? No, right? Is it okay. Hi. So what I wrote after was, what are they telling me? So they're telling me that I should get a job that makes a lot of money, whatever job that is. They're telling me that I should be moving to new industries where people are becoming billionaires all the time. So they're telling me, go into fintech, even if I'm not interested in finance or tech that way. They're like, do that. There's lots of money there. You'll be a billionaire and you will share the wealth to us. So things like that. So I want you to take note for yourself in exercise 1. Who is talking to you? What are they saying? And do you like what you're hearing from them? So 5 minutes.
那我们现在花5分钟做活动1，然后就是去写说有哪些是别人加注在你们身上的期待，这样。然后如果就是有英文问题看不懂的话，都可以再问我。
Hi. So is everyone done? There. So now it's time to share with your partner, like your table, your answers. Mainly around the question of, are the people in your life giving you advice you want to take? Or are you taking it just because it's the only advice you hear? Like, how is the situation going? So 3 minutes to share your answer with everyone. Or does anyone want to share to the whole group? Do they want to share to the whole group? Or are they shy?
How much time do you want to spend on this event? This exercise? How much time?
Just like a minute or two, like 2-3 minutes at max to share. Or if anyone wants to share, do a big list.
What are you presenting to for parents?
It's not working. Here, use this instead. Hello.
我补充一下，就是这个活动大概花1分钟左右，跟就是彼此分享。然后如果有人愿意跟整班分享的话，也可以举手分享这样。
Hi, everyone done? Hi. So now that we've done that, it's time for us to go to taking stock of where are we today? What are we doing now? So when most people start thinking about their career, they also start panicking about it because they haven't been thinking about it before that moment. Not everyone has the foresight to plan. So if you do, good job to you. And if you don't, it's perfectly fine. No, not a lot of people do. So what I like to tell my students are the following 4 questions, so that this is what they ask themselves every few months or weeks, so that they know if they still want to be in that job or if they want to move somewhere else. So the first one is, do I still feel challenged by doing this work? Is it still something that stretches me, that I'm learning from? Second, when do I find myself jealous of others? And what am I jealous of them for? Like, what are they doing that's making me jealous? The third is, do I still feel like I'm learning new things here? Or is the challenge just me doing the same things in a different context? Because that is a fast way to start feeling like you're getting stuck. And then the last one is, what do I want to stop doing? What are tasks or projects that keep coming to me that I don't want to be doing anymore? That I don't feel like it's helping me grow, or that I feel like I'm not learning enough from it. So for me, my answers to this is like the people I'm most jealous of are people who give talks or people who write books. But my job is a brand manager. So there's a big gap there. Like how do I go from being a brand manager to there? I don't know, but we will find out in the later slides. And for me, like the things I want to stop doing is making PowerPoint slides. Like that is my dream, that I never have to make slides again. But that is not a dream that will happen anytime soon. So what we're gonna do now is exercise 2, taking note of your current job satisfaction. So you will see that there are 7 criteria there. Criteria that are what people normally think about. But you don't have to follow that if you don't want to. There are 3 empty spots for you to write in things for yourself. So in this 7 criteria, the first thing I want you to do is number 1, what is your current rating for it out of 10? Do you feel like it's a 10, a 7, a 4? And then the next thing I want you to do is, what is your personal ranking for it? Like, is this very important to you? So for everyone who is a student, you just have to do the personal ranking one. And then you rank it 1 to 10 or 1 to 8, whichever is most important to you first, and then start writing explanations as to why do you think it's important to you. Just short bullet points. Is that okay?
So how much
So
time am I
let's-
going to spend?
So they're going to have 5 minutes,
Okay.
and then can you translate this
Okay.
to them?
好，那我们先有5分钟的时间来写这个模式。然后如果已经知道要怎么写的人就可以写。那我在这边一边翻译一次。就是这张表格有一个 current rating， 是如果有工作的人才需要去写 current rating。然后 current rating 就是现在的评分，从1到10，1是最低，10是最高。然后在 current rating 隔壁那一行是 personal importance rating， 就是自己心中觉得有多重要。然后一样是从1到10排序。然后在表格的左边 ，career development 第一栏 career development 是指这个工作的职业发展。第2个栏 generating result 说这个工作会产生就是结果。第3个 creative self expression 是说可不可以有创意的做自我表达。第4个 recognition 是这个工作会不会被其他人认为是就是它是有一个。分别是社会地位是有其他人可以认可说这个很重要等等，就是有一些比较像名声的东西。然后再来是 work-life balance， 是说还有 personal well-being， 是这个工作可不可以带来好的工作跟生活的平衡，然后就是在自己的健康方面是好。然后再来下一个 climate and culture， 是说他对这个工作对于气候或对文化议题有一些帮助。然后最后一栏 relationship with manager and team。说在这个工作上跟经理或者跟团队有没有一个好的关系。
Hi, so while we're eating, let's just do the sharing of the exercise. Is that okay? Hi. Do you need to? Oh.
那大家现在就一边吃一边顺便可以。
So that we can finish on time.
就是刚做的那个小活动上面，然后就是分享大家彼此的答案。
So for my answers for this is how I ranked myself on the first 4 based on my job and how I was rating it. And if you notice, a lot of it is that the things that I find that I personally want, I'm not getting it from my job, which is why I try to get that from outside projects like the blog or my other business, because what you can do is subtract it and see if it's positive or negative. And so far, only one thing is positive, everything else is negative. So it makes you think, should I quit my job? I don't know. I have to think about it. So these are the explanations as well of why I feel like that. So for me, the most important for me is recognition, because I like being told what is working well and what isn't. But in my current job, that doesn't really happen because I don't take on the very big projects, and also because I got sick, so I wasn't able to be there. So now I have to think either will I take on the big projects when I go back to work next year, or will I look for recognition elsewhere? So those are things that you can think about with the gap between your current rating and personal rating. That makes sense. So share in your table your answers, given your ratings and even for those who are students, where they see where you ranked, which ones are most important to you. Do you feel that the career pressures from exercise 1 have affected your rating? Do you feel like this rating is something that you really came up with on your own, or it's coming because I asked you to think about the career pressures earlier? So, something to say about it. So, 5 minutes while you're all eating as well. For students, so for students, you shared what is most important to you there. So, no, it's okay. So you can think about that when it comes to your job hunting in the future. Which are you going to still prioritize then, given what the others at your table will share? This was the pressure I felt. So learn from others' experiences here. Okay, so let's move on to the next exercise. So let's move on to why do you do what you do? So most of us know what we're doing and how we're doing it, but have we ever stopped to think why are we doing this? So do you know what pushed you to where you are today? It's totally fine if you don't, and it's totally fine if what pushed you was I wanted an easier life, I wanted a high salary, things like that. But it's just very important to be honest with ourselves on what is it that brought us here. There are no wrong answers, there are only false answers, if that makes sense. So in exercise 3, you will see that it will look like this. So where you will write your life decisions on one side, things like where did you go for university, what did you study there, and then on the right you will answer what was your main motivation for doing that. So for me, on the left are my life decisions, why I decided to do that, and all on the right are my reasons why I did that. But if you read through my decisions, you'll see that a lot of it was based in negativity, or me trying to run away from things, or not wanting to face people. So most of the decisions I made in life was because I was afraid of something. It just happened to be, good decisions at that time, but still. So because I did this exercise myself, I realized that I was living life afraid, and I was making decisions because I was not sure of the future, and I wasn't prepared to go out and find it myself. I went to university to be with my friends. I started interning because I failed a class and I didn't want to be in school. So it's always negative things like that. So now that I know my motivations, I can change why I want to do things. I go after things that I truly like, and not because I'm trying to run away from something else. So for 5 minutes, please write down your life decisions and what motivated you to do so.
那现在就还有5分钟做 exercise 3，然后左边是写你做过的，在生命中做过的一些决定，做了哪些决定。举例，比如说像选了大学的课程，然后大学实习，选择工作，然后就是做哪些离职的决定，或是搬出去啊，或是出国等等。那右边这栏是写就是做那个重要的生命决定的动机。 举个例子来讲，比如说像是没有感觉到有挑战性，或者是想要去探索更多新的挑战、新的冒险，然后或者是觉得这样就是做这个 life decision 的话会更安全等等。
Okay, time to move on to the next. We need to end on schedule at 1, so let's go. So now we're gonna move to exercise 4, building your user personas. Does everyone know what a user persona is? Yes? No? Okay. So mainly a persona is a way of documenting the needs of a user. So we're gonna make up a profile for you, both your current self and your ideal self. So how is this important to us? This is how we're going to start helping you plan your career. So you will see where you are currently, and in your user journey, you will see where you want to be at the end of it. So I'm helping you plot today and tomorrow, and it is up to you to help plot the in-between of that. How do you get from there? So the main way we're going to do this is to just write down who we are today versus who we want to be tomorrow. So for me, who I am today is that I mainly help college students and fresh graduates, people who just graduated, with their careers. But tomorrow, who I really want to be working with is companies, so that we can fix hiring practices in the Philippines to be better to Gen Z. So like in the Philippines, when you send in an application, they normally don't reply to you at all. So sometimes they'll invite you for an interview, but then they won't message you again. They'll just ignore you no matter how many times you message them or follow up. And I find that very disrespectful to the applicants, which is why I want to change things like that. But now I have to think, how do I go from helping students find a job to making companies change their hiring practices to be more helpful to students? So that bridge in the gap is in the future, but right now, for 10 minutes, please build your ideal personas. Who are you today? And who do you want to be tomorrow? Okay. Hello? Hello? Okay, so now it's time to share with the group your answers. Mainly on, now that you know the gap between your ideal self and your current self, what's one small action you can start taking tomorrow to start closing that gap? It doesn't have to be really big, like quit my job, move to America. It can be something small, like reach out to someone who already knows this topic. Learn a little bit of it every day. So 5 minutes to share. Okay, is everyone done? Hi, is everyone done? So last 10 minutes. So we will now do the last exercise, synthesizing by comparing your realities. So you'll notice that I've been asking you to share with questions already attached. It's been asking you to reflect already on what you wrote. So it's not just sharing what you wrote, but thinking about it in the context of your career. So these were the questions I asked you. And now I'm asking you to just do a quick summary of your answers and to also answer 2 additional questions with it. Mainly, what are your fears coming out of this workshop? Like, what are you afraid of coming next? What is the worst case scenario for you? And how would you deal with that? And then the last one is, what do you see yourself doing in 3 months, 9 months, and 18 months from now? So you'll see that it's not that far ahead. People like to think of their career in 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, but we don't know what kind of jobs will exist in that time. So we need to start thinking of it in a shorter time frame. Like, where do we want to be 1.5 years from now? So here are some sample next steps for you to also think about there. It's in mindset. How do you think of things? Upskilling. What are you learning? And changing your whole situation. So in mindset, it's just really rethinking about, is this really the career for me? Maybe it is. So you need to have that discussion with yourself. Like, why I will stay in this job because it's stable, it's good for my family, I have a good career here, or I have a good community here, things like that. The second is upskilling, which means you're picking up new projects to develop your own skills in the open source way. So you find something that's already out there and you recreate it yourself, or you apply the same principles into a different field. Like, let's say you saw a data set that's charting Australian weather patterns, and you decide to do the same for Taiwanese weather patterns, something like that. And then the last is changing. So this is the most difficult, but the one that everyone thinks of first. It's quitting your job. It's searching for a new thing for you to do. It's entrepreneurship. So I would just want you to summarize everything that you've thought of into those sentences, and also answer what's your biggest fears right now, and what's the worst case scenario, and what do you hope to have accomplished 3 months from now, 9 months, and 18 months. Okay, so now that you've done all that synthesis, it's time for us to close this session as well. So you don't have to share to the others for this one unless you want to. But here's the main things to remember. So thank you for coming to this session, and these are my last 3 notes to you. Number 1, always be aware of the outside pressures on you and be able to note it apart, that this is coming from someone else or this is coming from me. Because a lot of people, they don't think about that. So they think, this thought is coming from me, when in reality it's coming from their mom or their best friend. So try to put apart, like, where am I getting this thought from? And is it serving me personally, my personality and my future wishes? Second, always be kind to yourself, especially when you are thinking about your career. You are where you have to be right now, and that's okay. A lot of people feel like, I should have been promoted like 5 months ago. I should be this by next year. I should be that. I should. Don't talk to yourself like that, because it just puts a lot of pressure on yourself that is unnecessary. Like, enjoy where you are and stop saying should to yourself, because you're doing the best you can. And the last is to honor your needs and your motivation. So know why you want to do something and what are the next steps that you're gonna take to get there. You don't have to explain it to others. You don't have to tell everyone what it is. It's something that you need to have already maintained in yourself before you start doing things, because if not, it makes the roads a lot more confusing for you moving forward, and that makes it a lot more difficult for you. So here are the next possible steps for you in the next part of your design thinking of your career. So you can either change yourself by joining new communities or trainings to pick up whatever skill you realized you needed from this session today. Or you can do upskilling by already using those learnings to make a project that is needed by the community, to contribute to things like GitHub or to your local community, to do a pro bono consulting for an NGO, anything up to you that you feel is going to help you build the skills you need and be put into your portfolio or resume so that you can go where you want to next. And then the last one is to start connecting with people that you feel will be helpful for you in the future. So something I always like to tell my students is to find an expert, meaning not someone who is a master, but someone who is just a year or two ahead of where you are right now. Because they're the ones who you can talk to and relate to the most. They will give you the best advice on what should you be learning, what should you be avoiding, what are useless resources on the internet, who are useful people to talk to. So try to build that first-hand connection already with someone who's a friend of a friend or around your circle. So this is the design thinking framework we started with, and we are done with steps 1 to 3, and I've shared with you what you can do for steps 4 to 5. It's up to you to decide what you're going to do next from this. Are you going to accept the way things are, which is perfectly okay? Are you going to change everything about yourself, which is also okay? There are no wrong career choices. There are just those that feel false for you right now. So we have finished the complete roadmap for today. Yay! Thank you so much, everyone. And this has been Career Planning Using Design Thinking with me, Justine. So if you all have Instagram, let's follow each other. That's my